As I look around at the conversation and practice regarding magic, I see misunderstandings from both those who are interested in magic and from those who decry magic. Many don't really know what magic is and why they are interested, nor do they understand what they are decrying and why. This is unfortunate, since magic needs to be understood at least at a basic level in order to comprehend this earth realm and for knowing how to act here at all. Magic is an English word that has roots in the Greek language, and even farther back in time from that arises from an old Persian word that had a definition of power and ability. This Persian ancestry is also related to other words we have in English, such as might and may, which in English still convey a definition of the ability and power to act. But the way we use the term magic in English today holds a huge suitcase of meaning and connotation, for better or worse. I am going to discuss what magic is not. 1. Magic is not the supernatural. I don't have in my worldview a category of supernatural. Magic is not a transgression of, nor a transcending of, law, nor the imaginative pretending to do so. Magic is an approach to and framework regarding the properties, capacities, forces, and phenomena of the world that is present with us, what we call Earth. And as could be said about other approaches and frameworks that society and humanity are currently involved in and have given name, magic is what works. Magic is effective. There are explanations, methods, laws, principles, and predictability in and from magic. Any phenomenon that presents in this world has an explanation, has a source, has a pathway of law that allowed it to be an experienceable phenomenon, even if we are not yet in possession of that understanding. So magic is natural, not supernatural. 2. Is magic evil? I also don't use evil as a category in my worldview, mainly because I don't find it explanatory. I do make assessments about what is harmful and what is not harmful. Magic is integral to the fabric and function of the world, and thus it is neutral. Humans are the agents in the universe and have the capacity to harm and the capacity to become harmless. A human being's walk through the world, the way we choose to use our inherent powers as well as the tools available to us, is what makes our life and the world full of harm or harmlessness. 3. Magic is not witchcraft. There are many kinds of arts through which magic may be practiced. Magic is most often expressed through an art. Magic is deeper than any given method, however. Magic is the foundational principles that become effective through specific idioms and disciplines. And actually, conscious awareness and directed practice is not required for magic at all. Magic is, at basic, the influence upon and manipulation of energy and matter. And let me note also that matter is energy. You can see by this definition that everyone is already doing magic all the time. Every human is influencing the energy and matter around them by one means or another. We may not assess ourselves as successful in our results and objectives, but this manipulation is our constant attempt every single second of every day. You can see that magic is inescapable. Magic is all there is. Humans are magicians. As humans, we magic every day. We spend all day long influencing and manipulating the energy and matter around us by one method or another, whether thoughtless or by grand and precise plans, tools, and strategies. Another word for this perpetual human activity, and an understanding that holds the deep essence of what is magic, is to cause, to be the cause or a cause. We attempt to cause. This causing is magic. Magic is authorship of cause. We may use all kinds of ways to accomplish objectives, whatever way we believe will work, whatever way is accessible to us and we have practiced to be workable. But at the foundation of the myriads of method is one magic, the authorship of cause. To cause is to perform magic. To perform magic is to cause. The definition of reality is whatever is experienceable. Humans shape, direct, cause, influence the energy surrounding them in order to what? In order to be the author of their own experience, to induce a reality surrounding them that matches their desires. One may or may not be successful at that, but that is the attempt in every waking second of every day. For example, if one desires to be loved, one may seek to brew a potion, a love potion, or incant a love spell, or they may take a course from a dating coach and apply the strategies and formulas acquired there. Or they may put on a mask of not being themselves with all the features they believe are attractive. Methods may vary, whatever we believe may work, or indeed what will actually work, but the desire is to cause a reality where one is loved. Do you see? So magic is not which method you use. Magic is that you are going to use some method because you must cause. Magic is the impulse to cause. Magic is the capacity to manipulate energy and matter. And the purpose in our magic, in our causing, is to experience, is to create a reality we want. Now, this seems well and good, but now I must tell you, in order to understand magic, and in order to wield magic effectively, you must realize that magic, all magic, has an inherent weakness in it. In fact, it is perhaps better to call it an inherent falsehood. Magic is the impulse to cause. Humans cause in order to move from what is not to what is, to cause something to appear into experience. In order to do that, there must first be a not, something that is not there, not an experience. So humans identify what is not. As an example, I am not loved right now. I need to cause love to come into my experience. I need a magical method that can cause love. Another example, I do not have a brand new car. I need to cause a brand new car to come to me. I need to employ a strategy for that. What this means fundamentally is that the impulse to cause arises from the identification of lack in the first place. Desire is the identification and belief that there is lack in our experience, and the imagination of what must appear in our experience to answer the lack. Another layer to this understanding is that any object that is considered lacking and is desired to make an appearance is actually attached to some lack of being. For example, the desire for a brand new car is rarely about the brand new car. What the true desire could be is the desire for status or security, do you see? Objects, activities, and experiences may represent who we think we are not and who we would like to be. Often, a person's interest in exotic magic crafts and systems is really a disguise for not wanting to be who they are and trying to become something else. Something fancy like ancient Egyptian texts ought to do it. The weakness and falsehood in this is that, as beings, there is no such thing as lack. All lack of being is perception, belief, falsehood, deception, illusion, and insanity. There is no lack of love in the universe and in you. All havings and doings are ultimately about being. Everything and anything a human would wish to have and wish to cause is in order to be something, be worthy, be loved, etc. The truth necessary to understand is that you already are. You are worthy, you are loved, you are powerful. In order to make the choice to magic or cause, one must first disbelieve these foundational realities of our being. And it's no wonder, because thousands of years of blind history culminating in our blind modern life teaches us these falsehoods. A key of magic is to reverse these disbeliefs and accept your natural state of already being full and without any lack. Realize that most of the magic being done every day by people around you is due to them being completely immersed in this disbelief, this perception of this lack within them, that they must cause appearances so that the lack can be ameliorated, that lack within them that they believe is there. Perhaps you have fallen to this insanity as well. I know I have at times and often still do. Magic, when done unconsciously from this lack, is a human needing to be saved, to be rescued. And magic is the impulse to try to save yourself or get some other power to save you. Magic, thus, is fear. The antidote truth to this is that you do not need saving. You are safe in the universe. If you have a mortal situation that you need to address to claim that safety and that love, that can be done. But it doesn't speak to the deep you. The deep natural being that is you, that entered the magical earth realm, is always safe, always loved, always worthy and wanted, always powerful, always joyful. You cannot be undone to any lack. Thus, magic is always false. Does this mean if we know our true nature and we know that lack is false, that we can never or will never magic? The lack condition that induces the cause process is a perceptual condition and not an actual condition of the universe. Magic is accepting and causing illusion. But is illusion always fearful or harmful? Think of a child. A child will invent, pretend, become another thing, wear a mask, play games, etc. Not only is this not fear-based, it is actually a full and present way of being. Approach magic as a child at play. Then magic becomes fun instead of fear. Magic is then an expression of your joy. Allow magic to flow through your beloved crafts. Magic can neither give to you nor take away from you. You are already real and full. As long as you remember this, as long as you remember your true nature, Playing and magicking in illusion is allowed and good. You can cause within the illusion as long as you realize that the cause and result is contained within the illusion and doesn't modify you as a being. I call magicking in this way balanced magic. Will out of balance magic work? Yes and no. Yes, one may learn to cause effectively with their preferred method, thus bringing much into appearance according to their desires. Energy manipulations may indeed be successful and give you a new reality movie or storyline. But what this out-of-balance magic will never do is answer the lack. No matter how successful the magical results, magic will never save you. Chasing the fulfilling of one's perceived lack will be a frustrating, never-ending quest because an illusion cannot undo a lack, and there is no lack in the first place. Simply reclaim your awareness and presence. No magic needed. Your fullness is not subject to magic or cause or illusion. Your fullness of being cannot be given or taken away by any cause. You are. I am. Balanced magic is remembering who you are, full, loved, powerful, joyful, and still playing and having fun, causing things in the illusion we call reality. Creating experiences for yourself for fun and because you can. By the way, you don't have to be perfect at remembering yourself. We're all going to forget and fear sometimes. And that level of immersion is also ultimately not a bad thing. It's an experience in itself that can be a blessing in the long arc. But from time to time, create moments to come back to yourself and remember. Can magic ever be escaped? Do we have to magic, whether fear or fun? Some of us, when we hear about the weakness in magic, may wish not to participate at all in magic. We'd prefer not to participate in falsehood, even if it is supposed to be a fun child's universe game. There is a way to withdraw from magic, a transcending from magic. And remember that this withdrawal is not particularly about withdrawal from method, but rather a non-participation in the essence of magic, which is cause. Withdrawal from participating in cause. Withdrawing from participating in cause is possible, but I don't recommend it for most people to begin with. That state will actually arrive naturally as you practice magic. Reaching for it out of order is a belief in lack, that there's something special in Magic 2.0, and it would mean you're special to skip to that, if you even could. But I'll hand you special right now. You're special. You don't need a specific kind of magic to be special. I call what I am teaching you now Magic 1.0. Magic 1.0 is participation in cause, through the influence upon energy and matter, through a method or art. Magic 2.0 is when you leave cause, and I will teach you Magic 2.0 eventually, but it is best understood by first traveling the path of Magic 1.0, because you first need to understand that you can cause, that you have the power to cause. And if you don't know your power yet, it's important to learn it, I think. P.S. There is also Magic 3.0. We'll get to that mystery eventually. When you practice balanced Magic 1.0, you are not attempting to move from lack to fullness. Rather, you are moving from enjoyment to enjoyment. It's about enjoying beauty and fun and love and service and simply the power to create. Every human on the planet is magicking in 1.0, except those who are already in 2.0 and 3.0. However, there are perhaps 3 ways that 1.0 happens. First, unaware humans. Humans who don't realize this is a magical realm or who reject that it is. They are flailing about for rescue from lack. They have no particular method, whatever they can manage, or they have fallen to methods of others. Then, secondly, you have humans who have knowledge regarding magical methods and are practicing on purpose. However, they have yet to have the insight that they are still chasing after what they believe they lack. So the magic is still out of balance. And finally, thirdly, what I have taught you, humans that understand that there is no lack, and they still cause appearances in the illusion of the world in experience for the sake of joy. It's understandable to think of magic as, well, magical. However, it's important to always keep in mind that magic is what works. Is a potion more powerful than a plate of cookies? No. Is a configuration of crystals more powerful than a bit of feng shui? No. Is an ancient Aztec incantation more magical than a folk lullaby? No. Magic is not the fancy or exotic or special. Magic is in everything. Magic is ordinary. However, humans often love the exotic. We love the sense of magic. It's definitely okay to embrace this wonder toward the world. I recommend it even. But keep in mind that the more strange, the more ancient, the more brand new is not more magic. Whatever has the capacity to influence energy and matter is a magical art. Many people, when they long for magic, are hoping for a shortcut. They want to snap their fingers for something to appear. Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. They want to bypass effort, personal responsibility, and universal laws. They want to bypass knowledge and their own growth. This is an understandable human desire, one I have had myself many times. I told you that all humans are magicians. Now I am going to contradict myself. All humans are attempting to influence energy and matter by means of any method workable to them in order to induce a reality that matches their desires. Yes. However, most humans have not mastered magic. Magicians possess mastery of magic. Thus, most humans are not magicians. This is why there is usually only one magician in the village or in the land. Most people will never undertake nor persist in the journey to become a magician. Magic is the long cut. The kind of purification, sacrifice, knowledge, humility, repetition, and etc. required of a master magician is something most people will never do. Ain't nobody got time for that, right? Magicians carry great weight, including the weight of many catalogs of knowledge and the weight of gathered power. If you encounter a magician who can snap their fingers and cause to appear, you can trust that they put in a great deal of preparation to come to that point, likely decades of daily dedication. We also have great magics in our current world that have shortened time for their effects, and that anyone can now take advantage of with little knowledge but to push a button. But these were also prepared in depth before they became what they are now. Most people don't need to be a master magician. Any amount of lessons or enjoyment or beloved art a person may choose to practice is sufficient for a joyful and effective life. Becoming a magician ought never to be considered a way to become more special or to answer perceived lack. But there is an opportunity for those who have affinity for magic to tread a deeper path. While becoming a magician is not really a matter of listening to some videos, nevertheless, my purpose in delivering keys of magic is to teach you the way of the magician. the way of mastery. Magic is influence or cause. With a little thought, we can see that influence is not about what is influenced. It is about the capacity of an influencer. The world is before us and may be influenced. The only gap is one's knowledge and strength, one's capacity to influence. Thus, magic is not without, magic is within. You are the magic. You are the magician. You may become a magician, a master of influence, cause, and appearance. Thus, my lessons are not really magic lessons. They are lessons of becoming the magician. Keys of magic are possessed by a magician. A magician wields the keys. A magician masters magic. Now, many of you will have a method, art, or craft through which you will practice. Thus, you may not present as a magician per se. For example, you may become a master herbalist, a master of money, a master of horses. Thus, you may not habitually refer to yourself as a magician. Nevertheless, you are definitely bearing knowledge and capacity regarding influence within a specific magical art. There are many archetypes. All archetypes have their own magic. However, there is the archetype of the magician. All the keys I'm presenting are applicable to any art or archetype you may wish to embody. You can apply the principles how they are effective in your specific craft. However, as I speak throughout the series, I will generally be speaking in terms of the embodiment of the magician archetype. Becoming the magician is to be willing to dedicate your earth body and your life time to a path of mastery. The purpose of this dedication is not to become more special, because any path, archetype, talent, or art is special. You are special. The purpose of dedicating yourself as a magician is simply because it interests and attracts you. You are willing and hungry, and to perhaps be of service. The wielding of magic is to move from the not to the is. I call the is appearance. Appearance means that something has entered experience. The illusion we call reality has taken shape around a specific experience. Between the not and the appearance, there is the moment of change. The moment of change is the moment of magic. The change moment is the moment where magic is wielded. In fact, without the magic, there is no change. All change we observe in the world is induced by magic. Before there was not, then there appeared. What was the difference? The moment of magic, the inducement of change. For humans unaware, they do not understand the changes and appearances in their environment and their storyline. They are at whim of magics and illusions, of which they are ignorant and hostage. For a magician, the moment of change is a precision moment. All preparation of a magician is toward the magician's capacity to effect this precision inducement of change, resulting in precision appearance. All keys held are keys of this change, the magic moment. Change is magic, Magic is the change. Please note that the cause of the magician is not directed at appearance. The cause of the magician is directed within the moment of change. If the change is effective, the appearance will emerge naturally. The magic moment is effective by method or art. One's preferred art suggests appearances one may value and enjoy. The art also provides knowledge or skill that may be applied to induce specific change for specific appearance. Magical techniques are techniques of causing change. You may ask, well, what if I want something to be gone from my experience? What I'm about to say may be a bit confusing at first, so listen carefully. There is no reversal in this process. From the lack or not, through the change or magic, to the is or appearance. Magical desire is always the desire to experience something other than what you are experiencing now. This is the great weakness and illusion in magic, if you believe the lack is real. However, even when we understand that there is no lack in the universe, as we play in the illusion, we play to cause continued new experiences from enjoyment to enjoyment. Thus, not is always the beginning node, and appearance is always the culminating node. The appearance you desire may include removal of objects or the cessation of processes, etc. However, it is still an appearance because what appears is the desired new experience as a replacement to the experience previous that is not desired. The magician directs their cause and their craft within the moment of change between what was not and what comes to appear. The magician induces change. Change is induced by the setting of conditions. The setting of conditions may involve removal of conditions and or the introduction of conditions. The setting of conditions is the influence the magician wields upon matter and energy. Appearance will emerge from conditions that allow the emergence of appearance. By the way, remember that appearance is simply what is experienceable within the illusion of the earth world. The setting of conditions requires knowledge. Knowledge of what conditions allow a given appearance. Thus, for a magician, obtaining knowledge is an ongoing dedication. Knowledge of conditions is held within an art or a craft. Learning within and arriving at mastery within an art is an exercise in obtaining knowledge and practice that is to be applied within the magical moment, the application of conditions in order to induce change, in order to call an appearance. Often there is more than one way to go about setting conditions. Thus, an individual practicing one kind of art and an individual practicing another craft may indeed arrive at same or similar appearance. I said that all humans are magicking. In order to deepen our definition of magic, I am going to contradict myself. Yes, every human is attempting the mechanics of magic, that is, the attempt to cause within their world the objects of their desire by some method. Much of my teaching will be providing understanding regarding the mechanics of magic, so that the magician can master magic and cause precision appearances. However, magic is not only mechanics. If it was, I would simply teach how to manipulate the energy of the world, and I would not call it magic. Magic is also a worldview. Magic is a choice to understand, be in, and approach the world and the universe as sacred. By this definition, not everyone is doing magic. By this definition, most are not participating in magic. Many refuse to admit the sacredness of the world and refuse to circumscribe their influence within an understanding of the sacred. The world is sacred, whether a human thinks so or not. Imagine the consequence of a sacred, magical universe and world being approached by humans constantly rejecting that sacredness and behaving and causing in ways that at best forget the sacredness and at worst intentionally violate it. P.S. We are collectively living in that consequence. Magic is a vow of sacredness that most won't take. Now, I will grant that many are simply unaware. The transmission of magic simply has not been widespread in our thousands of years of human history, culminating in our blind, modern collective life. Many would approach the world with magic if they knew it was possible and were taught it. Hence why I am putting my voice out there with these keys of magic.
I would like to invite you to release all your thinking and believing and ideas and concepts and paradigms about what this world Earth is. Be willing to think nothing, no description, about how the world appears and its purpose. You will have an understanding of Earth and Earth life gradually reconstructed through these keys of magic lessons. Many could agree when I say that the universe is sacred and their true nature is sacred, but they fear the world and the body in which we now find ourselves. Many believe there is something wrong and dangerous with this world and with their earth body. And indeed, there are many instances of fear and harm taking place here. Some we ourselves may have participated in. Even in magic, we refer to the world as illusion, which it is, and P.S. so is the universe at large. Meaning, the universe and earth are appearances arising from set conditions. But this clarity need not be a devaluation of experience. The vow of magic embraces the earth and earth experience as sacred. Sacredness cannot be divided. Even those who live in rejection of sacredness, or those who simply have not yet had their eyes opened and who live ignorantly, are still embraced within this sacredness. The mother's arms hold all her children, no matter their current condition. There is no exile or casting out in sacredness, at least not permanently. We cannot profane half the world, so to speak, the half we don't like, even if that half is themselves drowning in harm and acting profanely. As a magician, you will be encountering the world earth with your eyes open and with purpose. You will be within your body purposefully. You understand the earth and your earth body as magic and sacred. Let the layers of what you think is wrong with the world and with your own body gradually dissolve from you. The keys of magic lessons will help with that. When a being comes into the presence of what is sacred, the approach is honor. Honor the earth. Honor yourself. Honor others. Honor the opportunity to experience. And P.S. this honor and this understanding of the sacred doesn't mean you have to be cheerful all the time. It's appropriate to be sad or angry or anything you need to be, at times and for reasons. Here is a spell song that you can sing or just say wherever you go to help you honor the sacred earth. I walk with care and delight, I bless and am blessed. The use of the term sacred is not merely a fluffy adjective. There are several specific reasons why the world Earth is sacred. One of those reasons I will reveal to you now. Many hold a paradigm that in order to consider something as life, there must be a certain level of sentience and a carbon-based body. Everything else is an object. In magic, this is considered a deep and unfortunate misunderstanding. Objectification is not reality. It's an invented and extremely false way of looking at the world around us. In magical understanding, all that is a being. Everything that is encapsulates the deep life force. Thus, any earth appearance is a being. And P.S., many indigenous worldviews understand this, but we've been ignoring that heritage collectively. Does this mean that my chair is a being? Yes. Both you and the chair appear due to what in science is articulated as atoms and quantum bodies deeper than atoms. In magic, this is understood as life force, or simply life, with a capital L. There are no things anywhere in the universe or in the world Earth. There are only beings. Thus, you are in constant encounter with beings. Many humans conduct these encounters ignorantly and problematically. A magician has their eyes open and realizes that they are in the presence of the beloved stranger, the guest that they owe hospitality. We are in the presence of our brothers, sisters, and siblings of family Earth, since all are born by the same mother. The family Earth is not a metaphor or a cute imagining. Family is the true nature of experience. One does not experience objects. Appearances are not appearances of objects. Beings appear. Any and all experience you have is an encounter with being. You are not a single separate being that acts separately without consequence. All beings are netted together in one, a net of atoms or life force. While this understanding is important for its own sake, it is also absolutely crucial for the practice of magic. If we think we are dealing with objects in the world, then magical practice is imagined to be without consequence. One can do this and that as they please, and in any way they please, in order to cause whatever appearance, because things don't matter. In fact, many people include other humans as objects also, so that they feel comfortable doing the dishonorable toward another. All beings in the world have their own magic and are participating in balanced magic. Sacred Earth is replete with appearance and with magical moments, changes, cycles, difference, magic. The only being that can be out of balance is a human. If the whole, the sacred Earth, is out of balance, it is always due to out of balance human magic, not due to any other appearances of life such as animals, plants, minerals, or technology. The vow of magic to approach the world honoring the sacred
includes the approach of a sibling with responsibility within a family. Responsibility means taking care with the magic one practices, to give a thought to the consequence of that magic as it relates to the other beings in the world. Do you know how we have a saying in our internet adventures to always remember that there is a person behind the keyboard? This applies as well to all encounter in the world. There is a true nature behind the appearance. There is life within all appearance. Don't allow that to slip your mind as you act within the world. Let this understanding inspire some reverence in the acts you choose. Take care. Take care of and within the sacred world earth. Since all life and appearance is a being, what this means is that the world earth is not a creation effected by an outside force or source. This world, earth, is a meeting. All beings have arrived here in agreement to encounter one another in the same realm. You have arrived within earth to meet, and you have been met. We are siblings who have met in this world and in this story. Understanding that our walk in the world is a constant encounter with beings is one of the most important magical keys there is. This is because we must realize that magic is not wielded in terms of objects and impersonal forces, because there is no such thing. The setting of conditions in order to induce change within the magical moment, giving rise to appearance, is a matter of engagement with beings. Magical knowledge is not the collection of information within your brain. Knowledge is knowing another. Your ability to magic, your embodiment as a magician, relies on your ability to form relationships with other beings. This has always been the definition of knowledge, in any case. Knowledge has never been about information. That is the great misunderstanding of our time. Knowledge is intimacy with another. The first knowledge you have is of and with yourself. You are a being, of course. And further knowledge is the meeting and enjoying and understanding others you encounter in your path, whether another human, a little bee buzzing along, a gust of wind, a strain of melody that reaches you. The magician's gathering of knowledge is the nurturing of an ever-increasing synergy of a relationship web within the world, as well as the quality of one-on-one relationships with individual beings. The magician seeks knowledge of both the true nature of beings as well as the conditions of appearance within the world of illusion of given beings. The knowledge of beings one seeks often is suggested by the magical art one chooses to practice. For example, if you choose to be a master of horses, you will come to know horses. If you choose to be a master baker, you are going to come to know yeast, yes? I caution you about information. Information is anti-knowledge. Information is always related to a given magical invention, and the information describes the features of the invention. In other words, information is only and ever a description of a given illusion within the world, and often an illusion maintained by unaware people who are magicking from a perception of believing lack is real, and that the invention and the information can save them. Knowledge is understanding true nature and being and point of view and path and story. Knowledge is personal, unique, and intimate. Beings are not circumscribed by rule and reason. Beings are chaos. Knowledge is understanding the joy and the suffering of being a being in general and in particular as you meet specific beings in your path. And P.S. the first met being is yourself. Beings are to be encountered with love and with respect for their agency. That is knowledge. The path of a magician is dedication to the gathering of knowledge, to the vow of that constant quality of encounter with whatever being is met in the path. Honor, sacredness. And this knowledge, these relationships, will be drawn upon by the magician in order to set conditions of change that allow for appearance. And remember, all appearance is the appearance of being, in general and in individuality. The true nature of beings is clothed in appearance within this world illusion, and the magician has the knowledge of both true nature and appearance, and can call upon their gathered knowledge and cultivated relationships in order to wield influence. If we understand that all encounter within the world is encounter with beings, and if we understand that magical influence is influence within a relationship with another being and or within a family of beings, then the next key to realize is that magic is communication and communication is magic. Any change that may be induced, any condition that may be set, is effected by communication. Communication between beings, one of whom in the conversation is the magician. Magic is to make a request of or invitation to another being to mutually participate with you so that the presence and property of that being enters your experience. Appearance. In order to be able to make a request or invitation, in order to communicate, the magician must possess the language of that being. Thus we see that the path of the magician is a dedication to learn language and how to converse in order to induce change due to a request. If you have a specific art or craft, that art is teaching you language, the language of that art and of the beings that serve and are served by that art. Not all language or capacity to communicate is in terms of words like human language. Communication may or may not involve the magician actually opening their mouth. True communication is sharing between two or more beings, sharing their nature and energy and whatever knowledge they hold. This sharing can take place in many ways. Each being has their own way of communication or sharing, their own language. Each being has their own nature and properties. The knowledge of the magician is to be intimate with the nature, properties, and capacity for changes in conditions within any given being, the language with which they may be communicated with or influenced. This knowledge and the requests for change are accomplished through conversation in the manner of request and invitation. The magician must be able to speak or transmit in the language of the being or beings relevant to the change. This may also involve a translation process from the language of the magician, as a being themselves, to and from the language of the other being or beings in the conversation regarding the change. Communication is not in one direction. The magician must also be practiced in and humbly willing to hear and listen. Understanding language is part of the equation of communication. No being in heaven nor earth wants to be mistreated in conversation. The magician enters these conversations with humility, responsibility, and honoring. Remember that beings that respond to your requests, your influence, are serving you by helping you bring appearances into your experience that match your desires for enjoyment. That service of others toward them ought to inspire the magician to a constant attitude of humility and gratitude toward the world earth, toward the family. I am not suggesting that all beings, including your chair, have the sentience of a human being. Every being is themselves. If you are a human, you are human. If you are a little bee, you are a bee. If you are a chair, you are a chair. Properties and language are as they are. The magician comes to know each being as it is, and the language with which to communicate with it, and specifically regarding any given being related to a desired change and appearance. I have gradually introduced elements of the definition of what magic is. I am now ready to put all those threads together for you into one picture. This will also allow us to review what we've been learning. The following answers the question, what is magic? Magic is the responsible and reverent intimacy, conversation, and influence with our siblings in our sacred family earth that allows the magician to cause, to set conditions within those relationships that induces change in energetic and material properties so that appearances arise that match desired experience. You now understand what magic is, but I want to repeat that by this definition, not every human is a magician or doing magic. They are attempting and even successful at cause, but they haven't yet had the chance to receive, or perhaps have refused, the vow of magic. Humans often want to bypass the submission, the relationship, the honoring, the long preparation, the patience it takes to learn another being's language. Humans often want to magic without offering themselves as the magician. They are scrambling to rescue themselves by their own power or by the power of another, without having a true understanding of true power, which is family, and without realizing that there is nothing they need to be saved from other than their own misperception. The magician is moved to tenderness by the majesty of this earth and each of the earth's children. The magician slows down into the mystery of sacredness. The magician is in love with the world. Can magic be wielded without honor to beings? Yes, the mechanics of cause can be successful without a sacred vow. It's done all the time. We live in that world. But there's consequence, which we know because, again, we live in that world with those dishonorable consequences. Magic done by means other than honor and request is violation. and causes the world to weep. Ultimately, there is no reason for this if one is aware of the choice. There is a wonderful story in our culture where power is gained from the scream of fear until the monsters learned that there was power even more so in the laugh and in the selfless connection with another. I am thus bewildered why anyone would choose magicking that results in screams from other beings, when we could all magic and laugh together. That's my invitation to you. The key. Magic is the responsible and reverent intimacy, conversation, and influence with our siblings in our sacred family earth that allows the magician to cause, to set conditions within those relationships that induces change in energetic and material properties so that appearances arise that match desired experience.